Thank you. Welcome to the ordinary council meeting of the Muswellbrook Shire Council, being held in the University the Newcastle building, Upper Hunter Campus, Training Rooms, Tertiary Education Centre, Muswellbrook, on Wednesday, 25 November 2025. Declare the meeting open at 6 p.m. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the council's website. First of all, applications for attendance via audio visual link. So we have 3 applications tonight. There's applications from Councillor McNeil, Councillor Douglas, and Councillor Scholes. If someone want to move that way, Councillor Marshall, Councillor Barry, all those in favour. Declare that carried. Well, now the acknowledgement of country now be read by Councillor Hartley, please.
Thank you. Council would like to respectfully acknowledge the local Aboriginal people who are the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which this meeting takes place.
Thanks, Councillor Hartley. And Councillor Dunn, the civic prayer.
Almighty God, from whom comes every good and perfect gift, we give you thanks for the blessings you bestow upon us in this Shire. Grant to those who hold office in this council the spirit of justice and truth, of wisdom and charity, that mindful of our responsibility and of the needs of those we serve, we may promote the true welfare of your people, exercise wisely and faithfully the authority committed to us, and advance the common good. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thanks, Councillor Dunn. Please be seated.
Yeah. And that speaker's turned off.
Okay, you want to check if that speaker is middle of the table's turned off.
Can you push the button?
How did you use it last time?
The thing, mate.
It's on green here.
Oh,
Green, that might be green here.
Sing up here. Sound. Okay. Councillors Marshall, Hartley and Barry might have to talk extra loud so we can be recorded. They do pick up fairly well though. We'll move on. Item 4, we have no apologies or applications tonight for leave of absence. Item 5, so confirmation of minutes. So the ordinary council minutes meeting held on 28 October 2025. So the recommendation you have in front of you is the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on 28 October 2025, a copy of which you all have had distributed to you, be taken as read and confirmed as a true record. Have someone that want to move that way? Councillor Hartley, Councillor Bailey, all those in favour? Take those that carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on any disclosure of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest, starting on my left, Councillor Bailey, Councillor Morris,
No.
Councillor Mahajan.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have one. Item 10.1.3 monthly report to Council Planning, Environment and Regulatory Service. One of the property in this report, I invite one on it.
Thank you, Councillor Mahajan. Councillor Hartley.
Yes, I want to 17.1 Windy Park Livingston amenities detail design construct. I'm on a committee who is a user of the facility, but the decision on this matter benefits the whole community and all the other users. I don't think it's necessary to leave the room.
Councillor Hartley, we'll start on screen. Councillor Douglas.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one 10.1.3, the monthly report to Council Planning and Environment and Regulatory Services. I have a pecuniary insignificant. The Land Council that I'm the CEO is mentioned with a change of DA modification.
Thanks, Councillor Douglas. Councillor Scholes.
Nil.
Councillor McNeil. Councillor Marshall.
Nil.
Councillor Barry, Councillor Dunn, and Councillor Ward. I have none myself to declare. Tonight we have no public participation. Item 8, bring it up on the screen is a mayoral minute. Now it's a late mayoral minute. Only this afternoon. I will indulge it, so we'll quickly read out the mayoral minute. So the mayoral minute concerns obviously the unfortunate event yesterday at Wyvong Hall yesterday morning, burning down. So just briefly, I want to acknowledge that the Wyvong Hall was destroyed by fire yesterday, and it is already having a significant impact on the community of Wyvong, and many people will be doing it tough because of the loss of this treasured community asset. Many of our councillors and council staff have strong connections to Wyvong, and on behalf of all residents of Muswellbrook Shire, I want to send our thoughts and best wishes to the people of Wyvong at this difficult time. The best way council can help the residents of Wyvong is by the action item in the resolution that arises from this mayoral minute, and that the resolution gives approval for me to write to the Commonwealth Minister for Local Government and her New South Wales ministerial colleague requesting funding to help rebuild the hall. The resolution also requests that I contact the corporate stakeholders council works with, requesting that they might consider also making a financial contribution to the rebuilding efforts. This is a tough time for the residents of Wyvong, but they are also tough. Anyone who came to council's community meeting there in August can attest to this, and I have every confidence that by supporting each other, they'll get through this period. I recommend that. In the light of fire at the Wyvong Hall, Muswellbrook Shire Council gives its approval for the Mayor, myself, to make representation to the Minister for Local Government and Territories, the Honorary Christy McBain MP, and New South Wales Minister for Local Government, the Honorary Ron Honig MP, and corporate stakeholders council works with, requesting and encouraging financial support to assist in the reconstruction of Wyvong Hall. That's a mayoral minute. I move it. There'll be a seconder, Councillor Bailey. There doesn't need to be any discussion, of course. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Any against? Thank you, councillors. I appreciate the support. Declare that carried unanimously. We'll move on with our business. Item 9, any business arising from the previous minutes we passed? If no business arising. Item 10, we'll move straight into our business. So 10.1 is planning and environment. So 10.1.1 is the DA 2019-50 section 4, the modification to an asphalt plant 43 to 45 Enterprise Crescent Muswellbrook. Recommendation reads in the business paper reads that council approves development application number 219-50 mod 3, proposing changes to the approved asphalt plant dimensions on lot 14 DP 1119843 43 to 45 Enterprise Crescent Muswellbrook, subject to the conditions in attachment B to the report. If someone want to move that way, Councillor Marshall and Councillor Dunn. Councillor Marshall, any comment?
Thank you.
Councillor Dunn, any further comments from councillors? That being the case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? None against. Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10.1.2. So exhibition, the updated West Denman section 7-11 contributions plan. The recommendation in the business paper reads that council resolves to place the draft West Denman section 711.11 contributions plan 2025 on public exhibition for a period of 56 days in accordance with council's community engagement and participation plan 2024 to 2028. First of all, have we a mover for that? Councillors Ward and Barry. Councillor Ward, any comment? Path?
Yeah, Councillor Ward, I just wondered, you were asking about pathways from Denman Town Centre to the development.
So, Mr. Mayor, councillors, the plan that's before you is principally an update to an existing plan that's been in place with contributions updated to reflect, CPI increases that have happened, plus the fact that some of the work in the former plan has already been completed, and at times that has been completed with other funds, so we need to remove them from the plan. I think Councillor Ward has expressed interest in extending some additional footpaths in Denman, as this development would generate more foot traffic to the school and to the Denman Rec area. We've done some calculation on that proposal and also factored in that the footpaths would actually cater for some of the existing population. So under the rules that guide development contributions, we'd probably have to split those costs 50-50 between the new development and the existing town. The increase that would make for contributions per lot is relatively minor. So if councillors are of a mind to proceed with further footpath works in the plan in accordance with the suggestions from Councillor Ward, council staff could include that in the plan before we put it on exhibition. We should include it in the plan before it goes on exhibition, so that the community and the developers that understand the full scope of the schedule of work.
Excellent, councillors understand that. Councillor Barry, you want to comment?
It's nice to see them and being back into 2025. I think Denman's just about to boom, and I think council being on the front foot with the planning going to go into Denman booming is a good path forward for now. Let's see where we go to next one.
Thanks, councillor Barry. Any further comment? That being the case, understood. Plan will also go in there when it goes in public exhibition. No further comment. Being the case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? None against. Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you, councillors. 10.1.3. So the monthly report to council, just to have the normal cleaning, environment and regulatory services. The recommendation of the business papers that the information contained in the report be noted. Have someone want to move that way? Councillor Morris, Councillor Bailey. Any comment?
No.
Councillors? No comment. If that being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against. Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you, councillors. The corporate services, so our annual report. Okay. Councillor Douglas back. Next, Councillor Douglas is back. If we can put the next motion on the board, if we can. Are we able to put that up there? Yep. So you'll see, councillors, that there's a small change, and I'll read it out to the annual. And so we're now talking 10.2, 10.2.1 annual report 2024-2025. The recommendation in the business paper is that Council 1 endorses the 2024/2025 annual report, and 2 delegates to the General Manager authority to publish the 2024/2025 annual report on Council's website and to forward a link to the report to the New South Wales Office of Local Government, Minister for Local Government and the Minister for Disability Services, and 3 endorses the updated SRV statements as tabled to be included in the annual report. Have I a councillor prepared to move that way? Councillor Marshall and Councillor Morris. Any comment? Councillor Marshall?
Thank you.
Councillor Morris?
No, thank you.
Any questions from councillors? Thank you. All that being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against. Unanimous and carried. Thank you, councillors. 10.2.2, a report on investments held on as at 31 October. The recommendation of the business paper again is just for noting. So council notes the council investments as at 31 October 2025. Do I have a mover? Move it, Councillor Morris. Second, Councillor Mahajan. Any comment? Any questions, Councillor Morris?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mahajan? Any questions from councillors?
Yeah.
Councillor Ward.
Basements. Money.
way.
So increasing our investments, return.
That's done.
Right. No.
Inflation rose to 3.2%.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, so there was a potentially going to be a rate reduction. There was forecast what we with into their investment options, but that didn't eventuate after the recent CBI numbers. So yes, there I guess it's a lot of uncertainty around the returns going forward. So
yeah,
we haven't seen a reduction, but we thought it might come soon.
Thank you.
Yes, good.
Any other questions in regards to report, the investment report 1022? That being the case, I'll put that with a mover and a second. I'll put that, all those in favour. Had none against, declare that unanimous and carry. 1023. Presentation of the 2024-2025 audited financial statements. The recommendation you have in front of you is that the information contained in the report be noted by a mover, Councillor Morris, and I'll have a second to Councillor Marshall. Councillor Morris?
Thank you.
Councillor Marshall?
I'd just like to congratulate the team for a very good audit. Well done.
Councillor Marshall. Any questions from councillors? No questions? Well, if that being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against? Clear that carried. 10.3, so infrastructure and property. 10.3.1 is the proposed closure and diversion of Wybong Road West for the upgrade and replacement of drainage devices. The recommendation you have in front of you reads that council approves the temporary closure of part Wybong Road from the Golden Highway to Reedy Creek Road for a period of approximately 3 months to facilitate the construction of 5-cell drainage culvert to replace the existing causeway over Phoenix Creek. Have I a mover for that? Councillor Marshall. Councillor Bailey. Any questions, Councillor Marshall?
Thank you.
Councillor Bailey?
No questions, but yeah, I think that we need to do it. And given the community complaints around that section of road over the last several years and the effects that the flooding has on that particular road, I think it's a minor inconvenience for the hopefully 3 months compared to the outcome that will be a lot brighter in the future for the road.
Councillor Bailey, I don't think anyone will disagree about the quality of the road. Any questions at all? Any questions from any of our councillors on teams? No question, no further questions? Okay, that being the case, I'll put that to meeting. All those in favour? Clear that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10.3.2 to development contributions for developments in West Denman, Armand Street. The recommendation, pardon, in the council business paper is that Council 1 endorses the developers for Highfields Estate Subdivision, 184 Armand Street, Denman Estate and Residential Care Facility to pay headworks charges as per Council's adopted Development Servicing Plan, DSP 2, endorses the construction of a 300mm water truck main along Armand Street, funded through a growing local economies, the GLE grant approved as part of the Denman to Sandy Hollow pipeline project. And 3, delegates to the General Manager to enter into a works in kind agreement with the developers for the Highfields Estate developer to construct the 300mm trunk main from Bell Street to the junction of the estate boundary on Armand Street, And also the 184 Almond Street Estate Development to construct a 300mm trunk main from Highfields Estate boundary to the end of Almond Street, and finally reimburse the cost of relevant sections of the pipeline construction through the methodology process outlined through the Growing Local Economies, the GLE grant. Have I a mover for that? Councillor Barry and Councillor Ward. Any questions, Councillor Barry? Councillor Ward?
1, 2, 3. 1, aged care.
30 aged care units, yep.
Yep.
It is absolutely good news, Councillor Ward. Any further questions on that item at all? Okay, that being the case, I'll put it. All those in favour? None against? Declare that carried. Thank you. 10.4, community and economy. Upper Hunter, just Upper Hunter Country Tourism minutes. So recommendation is for noting that council notes the minutes of the meeting conducted by the Upper Hunter Country Tourism Association. Have I a mover for that? Councillor Morris and Councillor Hartley. Any questions from any councillors on those minutes? That being the case, I'll put those. All those in favour? If none against, declare that carried. Thank you. Local 11.1. Please clarifying that everyone understood that footpath contributions were part of it. Because council are comfortable, I did mention it before we voted. Thank you. 11.1, Local Transport Forum, 11 November 2025. So recommendation in the business paper is that the minutes of the local Transport Forum meeting held on 11 November 2025 be noted. Councillor Marshall, of course, will move in. Councillor.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, did we finalise the one previous to that?
The Upper Hunter Country Tourism?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we did. Right.
Yep.
Apologies.
Yep, we voted. There was no questions. Councillor Marshall and Councillor Hartley. A second. Any questions on those minutes?
No.
Councillor Hartley. Is there any further questions on those? Or no, let's say further. Any questions on those minutes? No, there's not. That being the case, we'll put those. All those in favour? There's none against. Declare that unanimous and carried. 11.2. State Significant Development Committee, 11 November 2025. The recommendation in front of you reads that council notes the minutes of the meeting of the State Significant Development Committee held on 11 November 2025 and adopts the recommendations contained therein. Have I a mover for that State Significant? Councillor Ward and Councillor Bailey. Councillor Ward, any questions? Councillor Bailey, any questions? Any questions from any councillors? No clarification there. That being the case, I'll put it. All those in favour? None against. Declare that carried. Thank you. 11.3. The Finance and Governance Committee. The recommendation of the business paper is that council notes the minutes of the meeting of the Finance and Governance Committee held on 11 November 2025 and adopts the recommendations contained therein. The Finance Committee, who's going to move that? Councillor Morris and Mahajan, as I would expect. Councillor Morris?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mahajan? Questions? Any questions on the minutes of the Finance and Governance Committee? No questions. That being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against. Declare that carried. We have no notices of motions. Item 12. The next item is councillor reports, starting on my left. Anything councillors want to report on? Councillor Bailey? Councillor Morris?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mahajan? Councillor Douglas? Councillor Scholes?
No.
Councillor McNeil? Yeah, you're on mute. You're on mute, councillor McNeil. We haven't heard you yet.
Yeah, my apologies. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I've got a couple of short reports. About a fortnight ago at the last men's breakfast, Brian Collard made mention of a program or an activity that involved Where There's a Will and the Red Door. And I think Pauline Carrigan from Where There's a Will attended a breakfast, not a breakfast, but a lunch at Red Door, and a group of leaders from St. Joseph's School. And I think I sent a picture around this morning, because at men's breakfast, Brian had the cards, the gratitude cards, which were associated with the program. And the idea of the program was to try and get people who are basically, I guess, a little bit closed and not good at opening up and communicating and sharing their ideas, their feelings, etc., to sort of improve on that. Anyway, he was quite impressed and mentioned at men's breakfast that he was quite overwhelmed, actually, at the amount of participation. They average around about 65 people attend these luncheons every week at the Red Door, and about 42 people participated in the program, or the sharing of their ideas and feelings and what have you on these cards. And the thinking was, not everyone can express themselves verbally. That the stepping stone for that would be through the written form, and then they intend to move on later with progressing that in a verbal form. So he wanted to give credit to Where There's a Will, plus the leadership group from St. Joey's at Aberdeen for their participation in this program, and they will want to continue it for their coffee rounds coming up, where he thinks that it can actually improve on the participation rate, because when people are eating, they're less inclined to, to start that conversation. Myself and the Deputy Mayor attended the AGL CCC meeting last Thursday. Just quickly, I'll just give my summary of that CCC meeting. Len McLaughlin opened, the General Manager of Bayswater, opened the meeting by discussing the redundancies and the closure fears associated with Bayswater Power Station. So the redundancies come about by a numerous number of restructures that are taking place, and I'm not sure if I lost you because I just lost power. Am I still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's power's back on again. Bit of a storm up here. So the significant number of redundancies occurring at the moment at Bayswater because of restructures in the business and a review of their bottom line. They did a massive survey throughout the employees around the fears of closure, and some very interesting results. But I haven't got the exact statistics. I did write them down, but I don't have them here. But there are a lot of people affected, mentally, or a little bit unsettled by their fears for the future. But I'll get more detail on that and get back to you. The pumped hydro was also covered. They're still waiting on feasibility to be all the feasibility, EIS, etc., to come through. And the councillor from Singleton actually suggested that maybe we need, I guess, lobbying from councils or local councils for a whole of government approach and try to expedite the approvals. Job transition programs were mentioned, but not in a lot of detail. Men's health programs were also mentioned. And I did ask a question on the turbines. So we're still getting the HP turbine to that agreement. The contract is still holding true for that agreement to provide council with a HP turbine to symbolise the significance of power generation in our community. And hopefully we can make that happen. The battery energy storage system. There's been some minor delays with that, but that's still, I think that's on track now for maybe February, but don't quote me on that time. I asked a question about the number of jobs, and they said possibly 6 to 10 positions in the battery storage area. Not a lot of employment, but that's some employment. And that's about it for AGL. Just one thing I just wanted to also bring up was I've joined a safe work advisory group a couple of years ago, and recently also joined a peer support group as a subgroup to that group, and not pumping myself or anything, but just the statistics. I did a full day training last Friday, Thursday, Friday, was in Sydney, and there is a lot of issues around growing mental health problems at the moment. So we had Think Ahead, which is a consultant to Safe Work, come and address the group. And the group, I just like to give a shout out for some of the most incredible people I know who have lost their children and wives and husbands in workplace accidents, and they rock up on a volunteer basis to try and provide support and also advice to the Minister for Health and Safety on how to maybe improve what occurs. But yeah, the statistics blew me out of the water that 47% of Australians will suffer a mental health issue in their lifetime. And just two other little things, not little things, a few things that I mentioned is that, and I think we've probably seen it in the media, about retail staff being sort of bullied and harassed. And they trying to get to the bottom of that, and the cost of living crisis, a lot of mental issues associated with that as well. But and also the nurses union have brought up the issue of racism towards a lot of the new staff. So that's another growing problem that the group wants to try and deal with. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Neil. Interesting some comments you made in there, because I haven't heard this often. Whole of government approach to expedite something. I can't say I agree with that. In fact, I'm confident that's not right. That with the whole of government approach doesn't generally expedite anything. But I thank you for your thoughts. Councillor Scholes, did you have anything?
No.
Okay, Councillor Marshall.
As a great pleasure of returning back to Barami Hall for the 100th anniversary of Barami Hall. Don't remember anything after about 12 o'clock, but it was a great night, and Les Ray was given an honorary life membership for the southern wall and the western wall of the hall. He's done a great job and the roof. I think he eventually done all partner others to do the roof. is a great venue for a council meeting, I think.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
they reckon they've got what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'll be looking that way when we get there.
Councillor Berry.
No.
Councillor Dunn. Councillor Ward. I'll just quickly report on a couple of things. And there, you know, a whole lot of councils sort of, some of the things, I did briefly, I'll report there were 6 councillors, some staff went out to Wellington and Dubbo last week to look at some renewable energy projects, affect not just the projects, but how Dubbo have gone about it. The Dubbo Council, of course, they started, obviously, they were first to start out there. They've caught up or learnt to catch up very quickly, but certainly we learned what not to do, and we learnt certainly now what to do. So they've been through both ends of the program. So certainly, and it's all I could say, taking too much of your time up, the investment is extraordinary investment. We're talking billions and billions of dollars worth of investment, and we need to make sure, as councillors, you know, we represent the community well enough, and I'm sure councillors will represent the community well to make sure we really cash in on that investment when it comes here. Obviously, we all know it's coming. The general manager and myself visited Muswellbrook High School during the week, spoke to high school about traineeships and apprenticeships. So we'll bring something back further to the council. It's about traineeships and apprenticeships, specifically based at children from Muswellbrook High School. Anyway, we'll talk further. We've spoken to the school about it. The school, certainly Muswellbrook High, are very keen to work with council in regards to getting their kids at that school the best opportunity they can. And there's some pretty good opportunities within this council to keep, I guess, to keep our own in the community, and not keep the community with training as well. So we'll work quite closely with that, and we'll report back to you as that develops. And lastly, over the last 3 days, we come back this afternoon, Councillor Bailey and myself spent 3 days at the New South Wales Local Government Conference. There was some quite good outcomes for this council. So every motion that this council put through the Hunter Valley Joint Organisation, the Hunter Joint Organisation, were all accepted. We've spoken briefly before about some of our policies. Our policies now are starting to reach a little bit further regionally. Uralla had a policy, moved a policy there that referenced Muswellbrook's policy, referenced our policy in regards to rating these, rating as an example of how you rate renewable energy projects. And we've had a number of discussions about a number of things renewable with those over the last few days. But some, and I won't read them all out, but some of them, policies that were moved in regards to Muswellbrook and were all accepted, were to embed both net zero and state authorities into rural communities, to get them to move here and operate in their communities. The post-mining land use was supported. These were all supported, we understand, unanimously. There was no opposition. We want to also fund employment and training in transitioning communities, of which will be one. That again was supported. Obviously, uncontested funding for any infrastructure build, of course, important to us again. Supported recategorisation of roads and disaster relief and betterment funding, and all of those we were involved in. All of those motions, and all of them were supported by the entirety. None of them were opposed at that local government conference. So good news for this council. We're good news for us. We're getting support more globally now. We're getting support from our friends in local government, other local governments. We just need support from that next 2 tiers of government now, which I'm sure with the support of others in local government, I'm sure we'll get that. Then a number of other, obviously, number of other visits through the month. I won't hold the meeting up and report all them now. So we move on. We have no written questions. Any councillors, just anyone at all have any questions for next meeting? Councillors?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Morris?
Not for next meeting, but congratulations on your meeting with the high school that you mentioned with the apprenticeships. I think that's a wonderful idea. But as an extension to that, was the I'm mindful of the AGL training facility at the art gallery. Was that part of those discussions? Is that happening early in the year?
I'll get someone else to answer that.
Yeah, through the mayor, thank you, Councillor Morris.
I'm really happy to advise council that we have our hospitality coordinator starting on Monday. That will give him a little bit of time to get his feet under the kitchen bench, so to speak, and get the facility up and running. So we'll be up and running hopefully
That's Monday. You should be under the bench by Wednesday.
this week.
Just to add to your comments about the trip to LA, I'd just like to try and ease some of the myths about cattle not being able to go near the wind towers. There were many pieces of stuff laying around the bottom of those wind towers that indicated there were cattle quite well to walk right up the edge of it. And we were standing, 60, 80 metres away from it, and there was virtually no noise.
Yeah, it's a good point. Certainly, that's the advantage of being out there actually seeing it rather than reading it on social media. Any further questions? Any further questions for next meeting? Which we can answer at this meeting, someone. But if there's not, we'll move on. Thank you. We'll now adjourn. Obviously, we have some business to discuss in closed council. Otherwise, someone want to move that way, move into closed council. Councillor Marshall and Councillor Barry. All those in favour? None against. Thank you. We'll now move into closed council, then report back. 2024-2025 -0565 Olympic Park Grandstand amenities detail design and construct. The recommendation endorsed by council was that Council 1 declines to accept any of the tenders for contract 2024-2025 -0565 Olympic Park Grandstand and amenities detail design and construct, as all tenders received exceed available budget and further tender and contract clarification of departures and qualifications are required and confirmation of development modification. And 2, in accordance with clause 178(3)(e) of the Local Government General Regulation 2005, enter into negotiations with the preferred tenderers with a view to entering into a contract in relation to the subject matter, and it is considered most likely to achieve the best value outcome for council. And 3, a further report be submitted to council for determination of the awarding of the contract for 2024-2025 -0565 Olympic Park Grandstand and amenities detailed design and construct, subject to the satisfactory conclusion, contract negotiations and verification of sufficient funding. 17.2 is 2025-2026 -0672 design and construction of Denman Raw water intake remediation works. The recommendation endorsed by council was that 1, accepts the tender submitted by Finn Valley Proprietary Limited for contract 2025-2026 -0672 design and construction of Denman Raw water intake remediation works for the lump sum of $589,529.75 exclusive of GST. And 2, delegates to the General Manager authority to enter into a contract with Finn Valley Proprietary Limited for the design and construction of the Denman Raw water intake remediation works. 17.3 was investigation to seek land to facilitate bus shelter installation. So the recommendation that was endorsed by council was that 1, authorises the General Manager to negotiate with the property owners of the Muswellbrook Fair Shopping Centre to seek an option to obtain a small portion of land for the purposes of the installation of a Disability Discrimination Act compliant bus boarding stop and shelter. And 2, review the design for the installation of a Disability Discrimination Act bus boarding stop and shelter at the existing bus stop on Rutherford Road, Muswellbrook, including the widening of the road reserve to facilitate installation as detailed in the report. And 3, for the outcome of the negotiations to be reported back to council for consideration. 17.4, waste management service contract. Recommendation endorsed was that, subject to satisfactory provision of a bank guarantee as required under the contract, council authorises the General Manager to sign and execute a consent to the change in control of beneficial ownership of the contractor under contract 2017-2018 0-0303 curbside waste services as described in the report. And finally, 17.5, potential property purchase, Muswellbrook, offer and due diligence. The recommendation endorsed by council was that council endorses making a written offer on the property as described in the report, subject to due diligence, including preparation and review of a business case and a further report back to council. And that was the business in closed council. And with no more business, I declare the meeting closed at 7:34. Thank you, councillors.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr Mayor.